who it is. Charlie. Oh, okay. Bye. Okay, so I just got back from work. It's the 4th of July. I already made a little diary earlier, but I thought I'd clarify because in the video I was saying that, you know, is it really worth it to be working? Here, come here, little Charlie baby. Yeah, in the video I was just saying, you know, is it really worth it to be working more or making more money if you're not enjoying yourself? But I do want to clarify that actually I am not making much money. I'm speaking for myself in my situation. I mean, ultimately I'm like not making much money at all, but yet it's only 3 days in a row, so I understand that most people work 5 days in a row, 8-hour shifts. Maybe I think it's for a lot of reasons. I just don't think that this certain job is my forte, I guess you could say, for lots of reasons, and I won't go into them just because I don't want to overshare online. But maybe I'll call Tess, my friend Tess. Maybe I'll go for a walk and just call her and see what she thinks, because she's had this same job that I have. Well, not the same, but a very similar job. So maybe she would have some insight. Anyways, yeah, it's just something I'm feeling. I'm like, why am I working at this job that is kind of like super draining? Oh, Julie. Okay. And also that I'm not making much money. Like, there's other jobs that are draining, but you make a little bucket load of money. Like, I was talking to this one lady and she was saying that she is a server at this certain restaurant, and that most days she goes home with like $300 tips. I'm like, that's awesome. I feel like it would be actually worth it, you know, like if I was going through this workload that I've been experiencing, but making like $300 in tips, okay, then that would be worth it, you know. I'd be like, okay, it's all good, like I'm making a nice little bucket load of money, so it's okay that I'm going through this time of stress or even kind of unenjoyment, like whatever. But yeah, that's not the case for my situation. So just felt like clarifying that. And also, look, I can show you guys a little closer up. Maybe I'll just try to take a picture of it. But this is the really cute earrings that I got today. And so I was just at the library. Oh, Charlie is now in the bathroom. He wants to be, here he is. Charlie wants some water. So let's turn on the faucet for little Charlie baby. This is a very typical thing that he wants. Right, little Charlie? Great way for cats to get some good liquid, get some good hydration. You turn on the faucet and let them lap up the water. Kind of meditate on my ideas. So the other thing too, I won't really go too much into detail, but pretty much, you know, my grandpa passed away. Apparently my grandpa was like a millionaire due to all the land that he owned. He never gave me any of that money. Like, I never saw any money from my grandpa. Also, I just said I wasn't gonna overshare, but maybe this is oversharing. But pretty much I went to college. I thought no other. Like, I never even realized that there was an option to not go to college. Like, I'm the youngest of 4 older siblings, and all of them went off to college. And I thought that's just what everyone did. Like, I literally thought that that's just what you had to do. Like, I thought it was elementary school, middle school, high school, and then college. I didn't even know that that was an option not to. Lo and behold, I went to college and I had no idea what I wanted to do. I didn't know what my career was supposed to be. And also I had zero understanding of money. I had no idea what a student loan was. I had no idea what a loan was. I didn't even know, like, what is $1,000? Like, is that a lot of money? Is that not a lot? You know, I was just like totally clueless. I cannot emphasize that enough. So yeah, I took out tons of loans for college. I went to a college in Minnesota, and then I did study abroad, which was quite expensive. And then I transferred to the University of Minnesota, which was a lot more expensive because it was a main school. It's a major school in Minnesota. And so I racked up a bunch of student loans, which I had no idea really what that entailed. I'm like, I don't know, how much is $20,000? Like, is that a lot? I don't know. And so yeah, pretty much my accumulated total amount of student loans was $60,000. Some of those loans were private loans. Some of them were like public loans. I don't really understand all this. I still don't, but pretty much my private loans, they are not lenient. Like, you have to pay them. They are also really high interest. A lot of my private loans are like 10.75% interest, and it varies, so it can change. And I remember when I was looking at it, like, I don't know, a couple years ago, I was like, what the heck? I was paying, let's say, $100 in interest and $100 in my actual student loans. One sec, I'm gonna turn off the faucet. Charlie's done, one sec. Okay, so, yeah, what was I saying? Student loans. Anyways, yeah, I was paying a boatload of interest. Like, I was paying like the same amount. Either way, you get what I mean, hopefully. I was paying a lot of interest on my student loans, and I was like, what? I'm paying, you know, again, on one of the loans, maybe I was paying $200 a month, but 100 of that was just interest. So I was literally paying double. I was just like, I only just the other day kind of am starting to understand what interest means. So I guess it's like the overall. So let's say on the private loans, I owed like $30,000 or whatever. The interest is off of the whole thing. And then so that it's like 10% of the whole thing each, for an entire year. So like each day you're acquiring interest. I still don't really get it, to be honest, but it was also itchy because yes, I've been having like eczema or something. Like, I don't even know. Maybe this workplace that I'm talking about, maybe it's causing this, because ever since I've been started working at that workplace, which I will say there's certain work spot that I'm working at. I knew this from the start, but like, it does not, for the most part, it does not align with my vision, with my morals, I guess you could say. Just like the products that they use and that type of stuff. I'm sure that there's other places that would at least align more with my, you know, for example, I like more organic, local, healthier, you know, that type of stuff. But yeah, as I said, I won't go into too much detail about that. But either way, back to what I'm saying. So either way, so yeah, the private loans, that's what I've been paying off because they are not at all lenient. You have to pay them. Versus the public loans are more understanding, I guess, if you don't make much money. So for me, for example, I do not make much money. And so therefore I haven't had to pay very much of my public loans because they go off of how much I make annually. So currently I don't even have to pay anything on those. But my public loans I've been paying off now for over 10 years, however long it's been. Anyways, so the thing is, okay, per usual, my phone ran out of space. So, anyways, hi Charlie. Hi little Charlie. Hi little Charlie. Little Charlie. Oh Charlie, you're a very cute boy. Alright, I'll let you down now. Either way, so yeah, I've been paying off that every month, and pretty much, yeah, I just came to the understanding like many years ago. Hi! I came to the understanding that I'm just going to be paying off these darn student loans for the rest of my life. Like, I've just kind of accepted that. And it is what it is. Like, that's just a part of my monthly costs, is paying off these student loans every single month for the rest of my life. Which does suck, you know, if I were to ever want to move to Minneapolis or somewhere, you know, where rent is higher, then that would be a lot more difficult because then I have to pay higher rent plus student loans every month, plus obviously all the other things you need to pay in life, all the expenses that accumulate every single month. So yeah, I mean, that was kind of like a setback in that way. But other than that, I'm like, whatever, I'll survive, like, even if I'll barely survive. But anyways, so all that's to say, something quite miraculous just was brought up the other day. Pretty much my mom sold my grandpa's farm. It's a whole thing, you know, it's the farmhouse that I had showed before, and my grandpa owned like half of the farmland business. I don't know, I don't really understand any of it, but you know, my grandpa passed away, and my grandpa has two daughters, my mom and my mom's sister. My mom's sister is super wealthy. They live in California. And then here's my mom. She can't take care of all these things. So anyways, they jointly decided to sell the farm. So therefore my mom and my mom's sister get half of the half, if that makes sense, of whatever you know, like they had to pay them the money for the farm, whatever. So my mom got a whole bundle of money. I won't tell you how much, but let's just say it's a bundle of money. And I never really paid much thought to any of this. But anyways, my mom gave this big hoopla, like, Mary, I have something to tell you. I'm like, I quite genuinely thought that I was in trouble because my brother was visiting and he was actually asking me, he's like, Mary, like, how much do you still owe in student loans? You know, I was like, oh, funny you ask. I was just looking at it. You know, I'm always like confused and not really understanding all these student loan things. Anyway, so then we're talking about that. And then my mom was like, by the way, since we're on the topic of money, I have something to tell you. I'm like, I thought I was in trouble. I thought it was something bad. So I was like nervous, and because she was very serious. And anyways, turns out my mom, bless her heart, decided to give a chunk of that money that she got, a little portion of it, to all of her kids, aka me and my 4 siblings. So we're all getting the same amount of little sum of money, which probably to my siblings, well, to some of my siblings, it's probably no big deal. It's like, oh, cool, nice, thank you, that's cool. Kind of more nonchalant whatevs, but probably still enjoy it, but you know. Versus for me, life-changing. To me it was, like, when she told me how much money she was going to gift me, I felt like I was having an out-of-body experience where I was just like, I couldn't even comprehend. I'm like, what? Huh? Because first off, I had no idea this was even a thing that was happening, you know? So I was just like, what? So either way, I've just been gifted, not yet. At some point, I will be gifted a little sum of money. I won't say how much just because, I don't know, I just won't. But if I wanted to use it all towards it, I could pay off the remaining amount that I still owe on these private loans. The public loans, as I already said, because I make such a small amount each year, I don't have to pay those right now. And apparently if you're still not able to pay those within like 25 years, then they will be just disappear. Like, you don't have to pay them. I need to double check that if my certain loans in the public loans or whatever it's called are qualifiable. I really hope they are, because otherwise it's just like, I won't go on to a whole tangent, but I cannot tell you how immensely I feel that the amount of money that I've spent on school. By the way, my grandma painted that. I don't remember if I've already said that. And also my phone keeps saying I ran out of room, so that's why I keep having these pauses. Or I guess it's not a pause, but these random stoppings and goings. Okay, but I do feel like this is getting pretty long, so let me just get to the pork and beans or whatever. The meat and beans of it all. Pretty much, I'm going to be gifted a little lump sum of money, and pretty much I'll be able to pay off pretty much all of my private student loans. And so I'm hoping that my public ones, I'll never have to pay that portion of my loans. And I don't remember what I've already said, but yeah, pretty much I'm really hoping that I'll qualify to not have to pay the rest of those. We'll see. I need to look more into it, but either way, even just to pay off this sum over here, the private loans that have like 10.75% interest and stuff like that, that would be a life-changing, altering thing. So yeah, and then I'll have a little bit left over. I'll put some into savings, a little bit of it, and then also my brother was saying that I should really start a retirement fund type of thing. It's called something else, like where you put in money and then like over time you gain interest. So you put money into some sort of thing, and then, you know, in 50 years or something, I'll have enough money for a retirement type of thing. I might as well do that too. So start doing that, I guess. Put a little bit of money towards that every month. And then also just random things. I'm like, okay, now I can buy a new lens for my camera, which is like nearly $300. So I can start using that camera again. But anyway, so I was just thinking, I was like, man, on a day like today where I'm just like feeling depleted, feeling exhausted, feeling like, ugh, none of my core values were honored today, you know? None of my main things in life that I feel like I'm good at were really qualifiable today, because I was just like a robot all day at my current job. And then whilst I'm driving home, I listened to the certain song, and it just made me feel like, man, I just want to drop everything and go travel the entire world. I just want to go out and see the world. And I know that's very dreamy, like it's just like a fantasy, but I'm like, ultimately I could, like, because I'm going to get a little pile of money, it's like I could do the mature thing, or whatever the word would be. And rather than paying off some of these student loans, I could use the money towards traveling the world. Either way, I'll put a little bit of it towards like travel either way. Charlie. But it is so fun. Like, what would you guys do? Like, if you got a little random pile of money, it's also a law of attraction thing, which I actually used to do this, and I'm going to do it again because it's just fun. It's like this law of attraction thing where you can write down like, today, you know, I made $1,000, and then you write down like, what would you do with $1,000? Then the next day you write, now I have $2,000 extra. What will you do with the $2,000? Then you go day to day, keep going, and then keep upping it. So then maybe at some point you'll get to 500,000, and then like a million or whatever. Like a very cool law of attraction practice where you actually start to open up your brain to creative ideas and like, what would you actually do if you had money? Like, it's super fun. Charlie. It's a super fun practice to do. I think it's just a really cool thing to do as well. It shows what's meaningful to you, and it shows what excites you. And rather than, oh, I just want money. It's like, okay, why do you want money? Like, what are you going to use that money towards? What are you going to do with it? What is it going to bring to your life? What is it going to, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And I already have a bunch of cool ideas. Just in general upon that topic. It's just like a very fun thing. It's a very fun practice. Oh, Charlie. But anyways, again, I feel like I'm just kind of babbling, and yeah. But yeah, that's the update. Pretty much pay off, well, at least my private student loans, and that is truly amazing. Right, Charlie? Right, Charlie? Mwah. And so that is amazing. But yeah, I guess also, yeah, what I'm saying is, after a day like today where I just feel like, what was the point of existing? Not, okay, that's extreme, but it's like, what was the point of being here today? Like, when I feel like I didn't really enjoy myself, and there's just not really much of anything that came out of today. It feels like, I don't know, just that's what it feels like to me. And then that's what causes me to be like, maybe I'll just go live. Maybe I'll just go, oh, Charlie, you're so cute. Maybe I'll just go on like a meditation retreat, or like some sort of spiritual gathering thing, and like just go live in Ireland, or just go travel the whole world, and whoa, you know. Anyways, okay, I'm gonna go, but that's the update. Hopefully that made some sort of sense. I just kind of needed an outlet, so this is my outlet right here. All right, well, that's all for now. Bye. Hope you're doing well. Bye. Also, just to say, I got cut off a couple of times, you know. I do get pretty fiery when I think about the cost of the education and the actual education that I got, the professors, what we learned, the things that we did in the classrooms. I'm like, that was not worth 60,000, man. That was worth maybe 3,000. That's how much I would. Okay, but yeah, I'm not trying to make people upset or anything. I'm just saying, there's a lot to say about schooling and the cost of it and all that, but either way, I'm so grateful that I perhaps will be debt-free every month. I will not have to pay my monthly dues. Like, I'm still alchemating to this new realization. And of course, a part of me wants to just spend a bunch of the gift of money on fun things, and as I said, I could literally travel the whole world and like do all these other awesome things, but I know that the right thing to do is pay off this so that I'm not paying double the amount with the interest, you know. Wait, I could keep talking and talking honestly about all this, but I'll just say that for now. And also my phone is overheating, and also it's time for me to get ready for bed, so maybe I'll talk more about this later. And I'll maybe go into more detail because, as I said, I do have a lot to say about schooling and all that stuff. Anyways, okay. Peace out.